The forbidden tech. True, true. I think that was in reference to the double War Prism double Archon drop. Mate, that was a crazy game on King's Cove. Like that was insane. Like I don't really expect Creator to be that creative. Fun fact. Like that's funnily enough, like he's not really that kind of player, but sure. Okay. Regardless, we're now getting into our next semifinals, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Ley Lines, we have the Canadian Protoss player, the blue Protoss representing Basilisk. It is Trigger. Is he going for a proxy? Let's go. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Chinese Terran player, the red Terran representing Weibo Gaming, WBG. It is Oliveira. Let's go. So again, Trigger, he has been hyper aggressive in PvPs. We've been seeing all in after all in after all in at least the PvP matchup. Trigger here, there's no gateway back at home. He's going for the initial gateway. We should be seeing, I believe, 2, maybe even 3 gateways here from Trigger. Meanwhile, Oliveira opening up 2 Rax Reaper. Ooh, interesting. So Oliveira doesn't SCV scout. Oliveira doesn't know what's going on. He is blindly going 2 Rax Reaper. Meanwhile, Trigger, I believe, yep, is committing to extra gateways to a very, very committed start. Now, who do we favor here? It's going to be a little bit awkward. So we will have extra Reapers, of course, from the side of Oliveira. So he's going to have a little micro potential. A lot of micro potential. More importantly, he could just avoid the army. Like, honestly, Oliveira, he could just go across the map and just kill the probes. There's no production. There's no gateway back at home. So probes would just all go down. And we could end up like in a weird base trade scenario here, where initially Zealots are on the way. Likewise, against Zealots, they can just be kited to death. I'm curious where Oliveira sends his Reapers. Does he focus on dealing with the initial Zealot, or does he go across the map and potentially end the game? Oh boy. As Trigger, he does try to scout. He is denied entry into the main. First Reaper has arrived. Second Reaper is halfway done. And Oliveira, he will come across the proxy 2 gates. He does spot the Zealot. Did spot it for a moment, and what's the answer here? What is the decision? For now, chasing down the Zealot. Will save his CC. Command Center is going to be saved. Stalkers are being chronoed as we speak. And the goal here for Trigger is to deny the expansion and to snowball from there. Pylons under fire, but the Stalkers, they do pop out. Oliveira, he has to kite back. Bunker is halfway done. Oliveira, he has to buy time for the bunker. Boys are being pulled. So far, good control. Kites back the weakened Reapers. Up. Does kite back, takes an extra shot, but so far not a single Reaper goes down. The bunker does finish up just in time, and Oliveira holds. Oliveira, he does hold. He will lose 2 SCVs, but the bunker does complete, and the Stalkers cannot push in. They cannot push in. Oliveira from here can expand. Back at home, we do see Trigger. He's establishing his natural, but ideally Trigger did want more damage. Ideally, with his opener, bearing in mind his production is very exposed and should be depowered eventually, but he did want to do more economic damage, and he wasn't able to. Was not able to. With that, Oliveira is going for the counterattack. Does run into the Stalkers. He's going to be trading 1 for 1. Yeah, 1 Reaper for 1 Stalker. Better trade for Oliveira. Extra Stalkers on the way. There's still no gateways back at home. Bear that in mind. I'm just really concerned that these gateways are going to be depowered and then Trigger's going to have nothing at home to defend. The concern is real. Okay, there we go. 3rd gateway back at home. It's going to have at least 1 gateway. Twilight counter into blink, I would imagine. So far, Trigger just maintaining this position. Warp gate is now finishing up. And back at home, the factory is done. We can get it into cycler production. No, sorry, into tanks. Okay. You have my attention. Tank production has begun. He's getting into his 3-rack setup. No starport. This looks like a 2-base all-in. This does look like a 2-base all-in just because we're delaying the starport for so long. There is potential for Oliveira to build up towards 3 tanks, towards 2 or 3 tanks, then move out with Stim, move out without Medivacs, without starport, and we could even just pull the boys. As this is what I was concerned about. Reapers, they get into the natural. They deny mining, they get 1 probe, they head towards the main. Thankfully, there is a shield battery. Does help. As Reapers, they do get out. Oh! One Reaper is not going to go down. Oliveira does pull away in time. Rotating back into the natural, getting another probe. And another. So 3 is going to be 4 probe kills in total. Very nice. Trigger poking in, but the tank cannon is slowly building up. Okay, Starport. That is the sign here that this is not going to be a 2-base all-in. Starport is on the way, so he is teching. He's teching up into medevac production, which means Oliveira most likely will not move out without medevacs. Most likely. So that was kind of like the key structure we were waiting for. So Oliveira is going to be more defensive here. Meanwhile, Trigger, he does maintain map control. Blink is going to finish, and we could even see Trigger try to poke in. Could try to poke into the natural, even behind the mineral line into the gas geyser. Could try to dive into the main. So far, Oliveira is well split up, getting a safety turret in case it was a DT follow-up. I mean, based on the opener, I don't blame him. It's just crazy. It's been wild. As Trigger does take his third. So despite the chaotic start, we're building up. We're getting into the mid game. See in the chat, is Trigger still living in Korea? Yes, Trigger, he's been in Korea for like 6 months, for almost 7 months at this point. But yes, has been in Korea this entire time. And he's been improving a lot as a result. Been getting so damn good. I mean, hey, we just saw him take down Classic. And it wasn't too long ago that we saw him take down Hero. I mean, that was yesterday, actually. Yesterday he took down Hero as well. Now Oliveira rotating around. Takes down one of the gates. And one of the gateways is going to fall. The second gateway as well. And here comes finally the move out. As we mentioned, Oliveira, he was waiting for his medevacs. Medevacs have arrived, which means Oliveira, he can push. He can finally push. As he rallies over there, it is the 2-base all-in. Let's go. The boys have been pulled. It's all or nothing for Oliveira. There's no third CC behind this. When I saw the medevacs, I thought, oh, he's going to macro. No. The medevacs, they're just there to support. It is still the 2-base all-in at the end of the day. The boys have arrived. No splash damage. Charge just started. Charge is so heavily delayed. And this army is going to melt. Zealots go down. The Stalkers, they try to fight back. They're forced to retreat. And there's no saving this third. There's no saving the third expansion. No saving the Zealots. There's no saving Trigger here. Again, just a really chaotic start. A GG gets called and Oliveira snowballs out of control. He takes game number 1. GG. GG, well played. Oliveira does take a lead in the series, but again, this was just a really weird game. Like, like it was proxy 2-gate against a 2x Reaper opener. Like, it was just a really odd start and did favor Oliveira. Oliveira, he defended, he was able to counterattack across the map and just embrace his 2-base all-in. And it was just a really awkward follow-up out of Trigger, or just a really awkward to try to macro out of that kind of game state and try to stabilize on 2 and 3 bases. Trigger, unfortunately, needed more time to get into charge, get into some kind of splash damage. Also unfortunate that Trigger did not scout the all-in. He did not confirm the follow-up move out, so as a result, lack of shield batteries, lack of stack defense, lack of preparation there from Trigger. And with that, GG. GG, well played. We're now getting into game number 2. This is going to be Trigger's map of choice. We're going to be loading into Whispers of Gold. Very small map. Oh boy. Oh, okay, let's go. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Whispers of Gold, we have the Chinese Terran player, the Red Terran, representing Weibo Gaming, WBG, leading the series 1-0. It is Oliveira. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Protoss player, the blue Protoss representing Basilisk. From Atlantic Canada, it is Trigger. Here we go. Chinese doesn't care about workers. Sag, just watch yourself, peanut butter. With what it is you're trying to say. What I will say, mate, Oliveira really he cares about his boys. They want to be a part of the fight. They want to be a part of the engagements. They wanted to be one with the Marines back. So far, so good. As we are going to be settling in. So far, double gas. Okay, double gas opener here from Oliveira. Going for a Rax into a factory. So delayed TC this time. I mean, there was a delayed TC last game as well. As a reminder, last game we did have a 2 Rax Reaper opener out of Oliveira. This time, Rax into factory, into a delayed expansion here, into a faster, potentially Hellion, potentially Cyclone. This can lead into early 111, into earlier Banshees. In general, Tank Banshee has been very trendy amongst the Korean Terran players, and Oliveira is typically one to follow the trend of the Korean meta, so we'll see if that's the case here. Again, there's a lot of potential. Like, this could lead into, like, Mine Drop, fast Cyclones, fast Tank, fast Banshee. We'll see. We'll see where Oliveira takes us. So far, so good. There's that CC on the way. Again, Oliveira, he is not going for a 1-base all-in. And in general, aggression is favored here on Whispers of Gold, as we have mentioned before. I mean, we've seen quite a bit of Whispers of Gold here tonight. Quite a bit of it. And we'll see where this leads. So far, it is going to be the initial Widow Mine, not Hellion. So initially, Widow Mines looks to be a Widow Mine drop opener here out of Oliveira. Behind this, we do have our Twilight Council from Trigger working towards Blink. Okay, so standard opener here out of Trigger going into Blink. We'll see if he goes up to 2, 3, or 4 gateways. We'll see how aggressive he's going to be. As Oliveira does pull away. From here, only going for the initial Widow Mine. So this looks like a double Widow Mine opener, a double Widow Mine drop into an add-on swap into... Are we going Banshee? Curious. Curious if this is going to be for the add-on swap or not. As no, we're going for early tank production. Tank production has begun. Here comes the mine drop with the Marines as well. Send everything across the map. Oliveira does move out. And we'll see if Trigger can keep up. We'll see if he can keep up here. No tech lab yet here on that starport. Just early tank production. Oliveira moving out. Making his way towards the natural. Liberator behind this. No tech lab. But there is a shield battery, thankfully. Trigger, he's holding on. Getting up to 3 gateways. Getting up to 3 gates. Likewise, baits out the mine shot as well. Very nicely done. As Trigger, he does defend. Does hold. Getting into Blink. Yo, we got the Trigger emotes in the chat. Let's go. I don't actually know where that's from. I do know that for a long time, his display picture, I think still on Twitter maybe as well, but on Discord for a long time, was that emoji with the star. I don't know, maybe it has something to do with Osu or something. I don't know. Esther Trigger. So Oliveira is going to be pushing in. Liberator towards the main. And Oliveira hoping to try and distract Trigger. So watching with those stalkers, moving forward. Liberation has arrived. Headed towards the main mineral line. Trigger dives in, gets a tank, gets one. Takes down the tank, the medevac in the second tank as well. Very nice cleanup here by Trigger. The control does save the stalkers. And he does minimize losses. Will bleed out one more Stalker towards the end. Another Stalker gets started down. At the same time, though, that Liberator is wreaking havoc. 7 probes! That should not have happened. 7 workers going down to the main base. Trigger, he was hyper fixated on the control. Did kill all the tanks, but he will lose half a mineral line. 7 probes do fall. Oliveira back at home does have the economic lead. And we'll see if Oliveira can survive the counterattack. He's got 2 tanks. 1 in the main, 1 at the natural. Bunker is done as well. Oliveira is looking quite secure. Trigger, he's going to try to poke in regardless. He's going to test the waters. But the boys are being pulled. And the bunker is repaired. Oliveira holding at the same time. Ooh, mine drop here towards that natural. I say drop. I believe it just waddled in. Liberator has returned. Not quite achieving any more damage, so it finally goes down. Nice defense here by Trigger. Shuts down the lib. Drop into the main. Oh. Getting one more SCV. And with that, the game is going to calm down. We just see Oliveira gearing up for his next wave, now with Stim, Combat Shields, +1 as well. Now, like the previous game, Oliveira is going to have the opportunity to go for a 2-base all-in. He could opt to pull the boys with this. Did get an earlier starport though, so that typically leads into a longer game state. We'll keep an eye out for a 3rd TC. But until then, we're just going to be chilling back at home. Again, Oliveira, he has no pushing power without these upgrades, so he has to wait a little bit longer, wait for all these upgrades to kick in, then he can move out. Ooh, does he spot the Observer? He does! Observer goes down. Nicely done here. Keen eyes out of Oliveira. Shuts down the Observer. Back at home, Trigger, he's going for a more gateway-heavy composition. I should emphasize that as well. Initially, 3-gate blink, into charge, into delayed Colossus production. But they're on the way. Just needs a little bit more time for those Colossi. But I believe these upgrades will finish first. Upgrades do finish first. Oliveira, he will be moving out, and again, does he opt to pull the boys with this? That's 4 tanks. That's a hefty tank count here for Oliveira. Stalker's going down. Up! He does it! Let's go! Hard Moto, is that you? Oh, nice scout though from Trigger. Unfortunately, nothing to kill. Does unload the Zealots, and he realizes, hold up, something's wrong. Where's the probes? Where are the boys, Pappy? Where are the boys? The boys, they're across the map. It's all or nothing for Oliveira once again. Trigger, he has no splash damage. Disruptor production has begun, but he needs more time. As back at home, Oliveira, he's defending with his reinforcements, cleans up the Zealots, and across the map, ooh, takes down the Immortal, goes straight down mid, straight for the natural. Robo's under fire, and the Disruptor is not going to pop out. So there's no splash damage, no Disruptor. Zealots are coming in from behind, trying to get on some of the tanks. That's around. He gets 1. He gets 1 tank so far. He's going to get the 2nd tank as well. But the Zealots, they melt. They get 2 tanks, sure, but there's nothing left. The Stalkers, they get annihilated. Zealots go down as well. And Oliveira, he's snowballing out of control, pushing into the natural once again. Trigger, he can try to get onto that last tank. He's trying to catch reinforcements, actually. But the natural has been broken. And Oliveira is pushing up into the main. And unfortunately, Trigger, he just wasn't able to slow this down. He wasn't able to be active on the map. Didn't spot the army as it pushed. GG gets called, and Oliveira takes a 2-0 lead. Whew. GG. Now, the question becomes, do we go for another 2-base all-in in Game 3? Do we? Let's go. Let's go. As Oliveira does take a 2-0 lead, and now that leads us into Game 3. It's going to be, once again, a Trigger's map of choice. Ooh, interesting. Is going for a much larger map here. Is going to be going for Frostline. Curious. I'm curious as to what the strategy of choice is going to be here from Trigger as we're getting into Game 3. Catching with the chat, that's why Stim is important. If you're referring to, I think you're referring to the first move out. The first move out is designed to be without Stim. It is an earlier tank push and was designed to try to drag Trigger out of position, and it worked. If you remember, that's how Oliveira was able to get a lead economically, as he was able to get 7 probe kills in the main thanks to the Liberator, if you do recall. But here we go, we're getting into game number 3, potentially the final game of the series. The pressure is now on our Canadian Protoss player. As spawning in the top right hand corner, we have the Canadian Protoss representing Basilisk. He has to fight back here and now to make a series out of this. It is a Trigger. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Chinese Terran player, the red Terran representing Weibo Gaming, WBG. It is Oliveira. Here we go. And again, it wasn't just the fact that Oliveira was able to move out across the map and hit his strong timing, but remember in the lead up to it, he was able to cripple the economy, able to get 7 probe kills with that one lib. Not just that, but if you remember, he was also able to move out undetected. He was able to snipe the observer in the main base, and typically you would want the Protoss player to be active with their stalkers outside of the natural to spot the move out and to slow it down. But last Trigger, he went back home. He had to defend against the Liberator. He was defending against the drop play. Remember, there was a Liberator that hit the natural. There was a Winter Mine that walled into the natural as well, and Trigger was otherwise distracted. As he was distracted, Oliveira pulled the trigger, and our Protoss player, he wasn't quite able to spot it, wasn't able to confirm it, wasn't able to get ready, as he had no idea that an all-in was coming until he checked with his prism. If you remember, when the War Prism hit the natural, that is when Trigger realized what was happening. That's when he realized what was going on, and by then, alas, was too late. He had no shield batteries at his natural. Likewise, his third base wasn't really a factor coming into that defense either. Oh. And this time, economic opener. Winding it back and now focusing on game 3. Single gas opener out of Oliveira means Rax into expansion. But he is forced to be a little bit inefficient, is forced into a more uncentered position. But of course, he can always lift. He can just lift. He can relocate. But a slight delay here on the natural expansion. Slight delay. Meanwhile, across the map, we do have Trigger opening up. Gate expand, or Gate Cyber expand. Standard opener. And welcome on an all to Frostline. Now, Frostline is going to be an interesting one. This is one of the larger maps in the map pool, so I don't expect a 2-base all-in to be anywhere near as effective on this map. I think that is also the reason why Oliveira did open up economically this time. The big factor here is that this means that his tank production is going to be delayed, much more than in Game 1 and Game 2. Because of the single gas opener, so delayed tank production, delayed tech as well. Reaper does go in, does confirm the Twilight Council. Oliveira is aware of Blink. And again, we should be having a much more sane and stable start to the game. Technically, this still could get into a 2-base all-in of some kind, but the chances of that happening is a little bit lower now for Oliveira. It's going to be lower. Adept pokes in. Shades into the main. Ooh, gets a full scout, gets eyes on the 1-1-1. And now Trigger, he knows there's no fast third TC, there's no 2-1-1 or 3-back setup here. He's fully aware of the opener, and he's fully aware of the drop play. As there was no early tech lab either, or early add-ons. So back at home, he's getting ready. Getting a second gateway, getting into 2-gate blink. I would imagine into 3-gate blink. We'll see how safe Trigger is going to be. So far, he's on 2. There we go. 3 gateways. Never mind. Getting up to 4. Okay, so 4-gate blink at a Trigger. Very aggressive. Much more aggressive this time from our Protoss. Oliveira back at home, getting into tank production. Second Rax. Winter Mine drops in. Scuttling in for the burrow. Oh! Doesn't quite get it. Oliveira picking up. Attempting to outposition Trigger. Speaking of Trigger, looking for that drop. Doesn't quite find it. Oliveira, he does pull away. And Trigger, he's soon going to move out. I should emphasize this again, 4-gate blink is not a 2-base all-in, but a very assertive and very aggressive start. This ideally and typically needs to get damaged. It needs to get damaged. We should be expanding as we get into the 4-gate blink, but Trigger, he's soon going to move out across the map with a massive Stalker army. His goal is to either find damage in the main or in the natural. Back at home and checking in division here, Oliveira, he hasn't seen much. He saw a couple of gateways, he saw the opener, but he doesn't know how many gateways there are exactly. Back at home, he's got a nice tank and bunker set up here at the natural. Likewise, tank is soon on the way in the main. Just 1 tank though. Only 1 tank so far. So Oliveira is vulnerable specifically in the main base. Trigger reinforcing. The tank is about to pop out just in time. Trigger, he does go for the natural. Up. Does dive in, gets a tank. One tank goes down. Takes a mine shot to the face. Doesn't quite get the bunker. Oh, the Raven. Raven survives. Raven does live. And with this rotation, Oliveira should be able to hold on. Tank is repositioning. Not bad trades there from Trigger. That was 3 Stalkers for a tank, 3 SCVs, a Widowmine, and a Hellion. Warpins continue. Trigger rotating into the main. The tank is keeping up. So far, good rotation here by Oliveira. And tank bully's going up. Trigger, ideally, he would love to deny Stim. Waiting at the tank shot. Doesn't quite have enough, though. Yeah, Oliveira's holding. Oliveira, he is holding on. Trigger threatening another dive. The boys are being pulled. Only 3 Stalkers. That's not going to be enough. The tank survives. The tank does live. Oliveira holds. Trigger pushing into the natural. Tank is in position. Oliveira holds once again. You can see back at him, Trigger is trying to tech into Colossus production. He needs a little bit more time, though. And so far, this Stalker aggression hasn't been ideal. He has gotten 1 tank, true. Has gotten 1 tank so far, but has cost him 4 Stalkers. Gets the bunker, okay. Gets the bunker. Shaves off a couple of Marines. Still reinforcing. Baiting out a Stim. Oliveira, he was trying to go for the Observer, didn't get it. There's a dive. Takes down a tank, could take down the Raven as well. Oh, Raven does survive. And Oliveira trying to figure out what's going on. Does scan the 3rd base, does see saturation. Finally, Oliveira, he breaks out. But alas, he lost most of his tanks. He's down to 1. 1 tank left. Has a decent bio army. But again, Trigger, he should be able to maintain this position and slow down any kind of move out. Oh. Takes a mine shot to the face. And he does spot the move out. Does respect it. He backs up. Behind this, I don't see it there. Let's go. We pull it. Let's go. We're pulling the boys once again. It's going to be a 2-base win by Oliveira. I mean, he saw the saturation. Trigger, he's getting a 4th expansion. Now is not the time. Once again, coming in with a drop into the main. And what do we need? No shield battery here at the 3rd base. No shield battery at the natural either. Again, Trigger, he doesn't know about the all-in until now. Now he sees it. Now he knows. No shield battery, no stack defense. Again, Trigger, he's investing into an expansion that's not going to come into play. And Oliveira, he commits, pushing right into the natural. Colossus getting a lot of swipes in. A lot of swipes going up. Zelts go down. The Colossus can it break through? The depower. Robo gets depowered. The second Colossus not arrive. And a massive dive here. Colossus goes down, and Oliveira snowballing out of control. He breaks through the defensive line. Boys are being pulled, but now there's only 4 Stalkers left. Down to 3, down to 2. So to be down to 0. Yeah, there's just barely an army standing here for Trigger. Again, depowering that robot was huge, trying to repower, desperately so. But the army falls. There's nothing left for the Protoss. And that pylon is not going to finish. Oh no. He wants it. It's not going to finish up. The boys are pulled once again. The Colossus will not arrive. Just barely not. Trigger, he was like, yo, if we play on Frostline, he's not going to 2-base all in me, right? No. It's Oliveira, papi. He commits. He's always there to commit. Let's go. He's always there for you. You think he's gonna abandon the 2-base all-in? Nah, papi, nah. Never. Always there, papi. As there we go. That's gonna be 36 probe kills. Again, there's no further tech behind this. Is trying to, once again, Trigger trying to repower that robo. Let's go. He wants that. The Colossus is gonna pop out. But I'll be honest, against this many Marauders, I don't think the Colossus can even fight against this. GG gets called, and Oliveira, he will take the series 3-0. He will advance on to the Grand Finals. GG. GG, well played. Yo, Oliveira, was he like watching Creator? And he was like, yo, Creator, because if you remember, if you were here for the upper semis, Creator, he did nothing but 3-base all-in against Shin. Just purely 3-base all-ins. Oliveira was like, yo, I can do one better. Like, Creator, you think you need 3-base? No. 2 bases, papi. 2 bases. That's all we need. Straight up two base all-ins non-stop here out of Oliveira, and time again, it was a factor in game 1, game 2, and in game 3 as well. Unfortunately, Trigger, he just wasn't aware. He was not aware of these all-ins. I mean, it was kind of on full display, especially here in the final game in game 3, where Trigger, he did miss the move out. He saw the initial bio army, but he didn't see the reinforcements moving out across the map. So Trigger, instead of throwing down shield batteries, he was throwing down a 4th base. So as you saw, 0 shield batteries at the natural, 0 at the 3rd. Instead, there was a 4th nexus on the way. Again, Trigger, he was thinking further ahead. He just didn't think there would be an all-in there, when really there was. So it's really unfortunate that Trigger did miss that, and as a result, he was caught with his pants down multiple times throughout this series. At a certain point, he's like, Oliveira, he's not crazy enough to all-in me like 3 games in a row. He is. He's crazy, pop. He's crazy. GG, well played. GG, well played. And with that, Oliveira does advance on to the grand finals. Does advance on. Not gonna lie, even with a battery there, I doubt he holds. I mean, it's possible. It kind of depends on kind of the dynamic there. It's a couple different things. If he knew what was coming, it isn't just that you throw down shield batteries, but most likely Trigger, he would be more proactive when it comes to slowing down the push, when it comes to picking off Marines, picking off Medivacs, picking off Ravens as well, coming in from behind and trying to catch reinforcements. Like, in general, your entire approach to the game and your entire approach to your opponent does change when you realize there's an all-in coming. So there's a lot of factors that come into play, not just shield batteries. That's a part of it, 100%. But on top of that, slowing down the all-in and slowing down the army would be another part as well. On top of that, potentially like even a 2nd pylon here at the natural. I mean, bearing in mind, even if Trigger had bought a couple more seconds, like imagine a world where he could build up towards 2 Colossus, right? His first Colossus went down early, but if he could buy time and save that first Colossus to get that 2nd Colossus out as well, the 2nd Colossus that technically did come into play, but it's at the very end of the game, so it wasn't really a factor. But like, again, there are these little changes, little things that can influence a game state as well. Regardless, GG, well played. Like, it was so sad to see that 2nd Colossus just never arrived. It just never popped out. So close. But like, that would have been another big factor as well, right? Like, all these little things, they add up. They add up over time. And with that, we're now getting into our next game. We're going to be getting into the grand finals here. I do need a moment though, so we can take a moment to have a look at the bracket itself and a catch up on where we are. Here we go. Here we go. We do have our bracket here, just catching up on the bracket itself, on all these matches. We had Creator who was able to pop off against Trap. Again, Creator hit a really dynamic and really interesting series against Shin. I do recommend it. Do recommend the upper semifinals between Creator and Shin. I mean, a lot of these matches were really a lot of fun. Even Shin versus Hero as well. Even Trigger's matches against Classic, and even Oliveira in his matches as well. So you had 8 players rise up here tonight. Even Young Yakov off screen. Young Yakov, he was playing against Shin earlier, but now we are down to 2. Now 2 players remaining, Creator and Oliveira, in a best of 7 grand finals. Let's go. Let us go. Just catching up. Catching up in the chat. Not 3 times when you show you can't stop it. I mean, I'm pretty sure, especially when it came to game 3, I think that was just out of Trigger's mind, especially on Frostline. I think he just assumed, like, he just made the assumption that's like that. There's no, you're not gonna do it 3 times in a row. So he just assumed that he was in a safe position and getting into a longer game state. Assuming can kill you though, as we can see, as it clearly can get you killed. But I'm just pretty sure that was the thought process of Trigger. Regardless, we have our best of 7. We do need a moment to set up though, so we're going to be going on a short break. Going to be going on a short break here, so take this time to get some snacks, get some food, get some water, drain your disruptors, massage your Marines, and hydrate all of your Hydras. When we return, we will have that best of 7 ready for you. See you soon. See you soon, Pat. See you soon.